I have lived in Chicago for 17 years, and by now I have what might be called an urban sensibility. I have an urban haircut, very short, trimmed every 4 weeks. I have an urban wardrobe, mostly black and gray suits, accented by black and gray shirts, worn invariably with black high heels, a futile attempt to enhance my 5-foot stature. I have urban eyewear, titanium-framed glasses designed by a German. I enjoy the energy and movement of cities, the sense of being part of a larger whole of people and stories and sights and lights, and I take comfort in being surrounded by a constant clamor of voices, of strangers, of friends, and L trains and car horns and music from passing cars and the rhythms of the boys drumming on overturned buckets on the sidewalk. So my trip through land art would be an unprecedented assault on my own fear of solitude. Going against all my training in higher education, I'm going to lump everything I wanted to see into one category which will be variously called land art, earthworks, American monumental minimalism, or some combination of those words. As a recovering art historian, I had long been interested in seeing the artworks of the West as they are supposed to be seen. But as someone undergoing a sort of early midlife crisis, I was also interested in testing and challenging myself, breaking out of my 9-to-5 routine and trying to find something in myself beyond the ability to answer emails, attend meetings, and meet friends for cocktails. This was a fearful undertaking, to be sure, but I had downplayed its solitary aspect by simply refusing to think too much about it beforehand. I couldn't bring myself to face the magnitude of this trip. 3 weeks on the road, most of it alone, through states I had never seen, without any idea where I would stay or what I would do. Had I put any real thought into the trip, beyond buying a map and picking out a few places I wanted to visit, I never would have been able to go through with it. So instead, I willed myself into denial and approached the journey casually. Even the morning I left was leisurely. I opted out of the road trip script I remember from childhood. My parents setting the alarm for an ungodly hour, rousing me and my sister, pushing us sleepily into the already packed car while it was still dark outside. Not this time. On the morning I left for the West, I slept in, had some coffee and breakfast, watched the Today Show, and threw my bags into my 6-year-old city-driving Volkswagen Jetta. And then, at the godly hour of 10:30, I drove away. My first stop, after what I figured as a 2-day drive, would be Smithsons Spiral Jetty. The title is literal. The work is a spiral of rocks and dirt approximately 1,500 feet long and 50 feet across, reaching out from the shore of the Great Salt Lake like a big rubber snake. It was built in 1970 at Rosal Point, 15 miles from Corinne, Utah, the nearest town. For a while the jetty was visible. Then the lake overtook it and it languished or flourished underwater for decades. Low water levels and a drought brought it back to the surface in 1999. It slowly emerged, but like a disgusted lover, the lake that had snuggled it marched away, further and further, and now keeps a healthy distance. The jetty, so long licked, covered, and embraced by the lake, now sits alone, arid and rocky, about a half-mile from the water. Smithson echoed local mythology when he claimed to have seen an immobile cyclone while scouting the site. Rumor, the origin of which remains unclear, holds that at the bottom of the Great Salt Lake is a giant whirlpool that is linked, via an underground tunnel, to the Pacific Ocean. Looking into the pink water, into a network of mud cracks supporting the jigsaw puzzle that composes the salt flats, Smithson describes such sensations as a dormant earthquake, a flickering light that made the entire landscape appear to quake, a spinning sensation without movement, an immense roundness, a gyrating space. He saw currents of energy working at a feverish pace under the gentle surface of the lake. So he hired a contractor who managed 2 dump trucks, a tractor, and a front-end loader in relocating 6,500 tons of earth, mostly black rock, salt crystal, and dirt, into a coil that protrudes out into the lake. It took about 6 days to craft the jetty. It took me 2 to get there.